Okay, are we recording? Yep.
Don't think we are yet, no.
We have okay, this morning at the rolling hours, I made a video introduction, and I thought it was pretty good at the time. And since I realized there's a lot of other things I should have shown. I didn't show the find command. But one of the things I was thinking of was doing a part 2. And find loading directory. And ideally, I would want somebody to ask questions as I go through the stuff. So we could do part 2 today.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always coming up with improvements to rhobot that are needed. What we've gotten here is a number of things. The main thing is I got rid of the C format. So what we have is, one of the things that the CPP macro processor does is it removes all the, what's going on here? Well, let me go. It removes all of the extra white space and the comments from the document that we process through the macro processor. So this was, one of the reasons I was using the C format, which really caused a lot of problems and didn't render Rolang properly. It's made for the C language, not for Rolang. So what I did was I created a row format function in JavaScript. And we sent it some row. And then first thing, if we don't find a new line within the body before the last character, the dot is one character in a regular expression. \n is a new line, dot is any character. So if it doesn't match that, that means there's no new lines in the whole thing. And then for this, we add the new lines. Okay, and then I did a little tweak here. I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, what's the tweak? Sorry, is it the space?
This is removing all the white space at the beginning of lines. That's so I start out with well, there are no lines. I removed spaces at the beginning of the whole thing. Okay, so yeah, so if there's beginning spaces, they have no meaning in the program. And usually you want to start off with the definition, with the thing starting in the first column. Okay, then I have I look for a beginning brace followed by white space. \S is white space. Could be a new line, blank, whatever. And I globally, -G after the regular expression that's delimited with slashes means as many times as it exists, I want to replace it globally. And I want to replace it with a beginning bracket, which followed by a new line. So wherever I found a beginning bracket, I put in a new line. Do I really want to do that?
Beginning bracket, then a new line.
I mean, I can. I mean, that's okay. But yeah, that's it. That's right. Then I look for end brackets. And I replace all of those that are followed by and following spaces. I don't know what is that. Yeah, I don't know. I may need to tweak this a little bit, but basically, and then if I see parallel, two processes in parallel with the vertical bar, I insert a new line after the vertical bar. So this will take something that's all one line and it'll, put it on separate lines. Does that make sense? You have questions?
No, I think I've got that much.
Okay, then here I go through the whole thing, and I go through each character. Okay, I initialize the indent to be nothing, last to be nothing, the output to be nothing. Rho-lang2 is the output, rho is the input. So if I get a character that's an end bracket, that means that I reduce the size of the indent by 2 characters.
Okay. What's the reason for removing the size of the indent?
Removing the what?
You said you're removing, reducing the size of the indent, but what's the reason for it?
Well, I don't. I want the Rho-lang to come out looking okay. So rather than put this all on one line, okay, and it actually will put it on one line. I redefined it so it does put it on one line. If there's no white space after the brace, it doesn't put a new line. If there's white space after the brace, it puts a new line, and then it puts an indent. Okay,
Okay.
the size of the indent. Every time I get a beginning brace, I increase the size of the indent. Every
Yeah.
time I see an ending brace, I decrease the size of the indent. So that, with a longer strip, we can see indent greater and then indent less. Okay, and I don't know why this is coming here. Oh, because it's got this. You know what? This brace should have been over here. Now I think I fixed that later. So if I go to rhobot here, where it won't bother anybody. Oh, the same. Well, in any case, that's pretty well formatted. It's much better than seeing it all on one line, right?
Yeah.
This is to fix it in the case when it's all on one line. So let's see. And there's a little trick here. Okay, if I see when I see the beginning brace, I increase the indent. And I probably should put that first. It would make more sense, make this thing more understandable. Except that so here, each time I set, add the character to the output, and I remember the last character. Then I add the last character at the end. Yeah. Okay. So that allowed me to get rid of the C-line format program. The other main thing I added was the show. Which does a grep for the grep in the global.h file for the macro. And it execs, I want to get some result back. It formats it. It does a real format. All the macros are on one line. So the only reason they're formatted at all, well, that's not true. The other thing I did was I preserved the new lines in a macro definition. Basically, I put in a sequence of characters, quote, tilde, tilde, quote, to represent where a new line character should go. And I put those back in before I use it. And I'm going to figure how that works exactly.
Okay.
I take it out when I execute the roll line. Okay, so.
Oh, okay. I was going to say try.
And trying to think what else there was to show. I've been pretty active in cleaning up a lot of stuff on rhobot. Oh yeah, the other thing I did was one of the most common errors you get is something is undefined,
Yeah.
and it
Ah, sweet.
just tells you that you know, a dollar sign was something, you know, it was an illegal character. Okay, so so I look for an illegal character dollar sign, and then I read the file that it executed, which is in /temp directory author's name.rho.
Yeah.
Last thing evaluated.
Sweet.
So when I get that back, I match on a macro name. So I'm looking for the character dollar sign, and you have to put a backslash because dollar sign means the end of the line in a regular expression. And then lowercase a to lowercase z, uppercase a to uppercase z, and the underscore. These are all things that could be in a macro name. In fact, they could have numbers in them. So we'll fix that right now. 0 through 9. Okay, those are the characters that are allowed. And star means we can have.
Sorry.
And I put them in parentheses here because it's a group. And with the match, you get essentially an array back. And the 0 thing is the whole thing that's matched, which is the whole line. And then it goes by the parentheses. The first parentheses in the expression is 1 in the array. The second parentheses is 2. There's no other parentheses in here. 3, 4. So you can pull out different pieces of the thing you matched from the array. And, you know, we address the elements in the array in brackets. And then I add the word undefined to that. So if I type in any, if any macro, let's say I misspelled the macro name, it would turn out undefined.
Oh, okay.
In a reply to the message. Reply to the current message. Any questions?
Not as of yet. You need an R in directory, by the way.
What?
Just the fourth bullet point, you need an R in directory.
Here? Oh, directory, yeah. Okay. Loading directory. Can you type make my wallet in the testing channel?
Yep, testing box.
Make my
Has that got a capital M for M and W, or is it all lowercase?
Make my locker all lowercase.
I'll lock it, not wallet.
Okay. We didn't do the wallet yet.
Ooh, that's big.
And that would be in the testing bots channel. No, make my locker colon.
Oh, colon. Sorry.
No $sign.
Make.
I mean, you could do an eval semicolon, make make my locker.
Yeah.
Or make my locker colon. Okay. So I've defined your locker URI, and I've defined your inbox URI. So now I can do a chat. Aviation hacker. Hi, guy. It's okay. And you could do a receive colon.
Receive. Colon. Oh, other way around.
Space, quote, chat, quote, comma, asterisk, STD, OUG.
Stand it up. Sweet.
And you got my chat. Okay. So far, so good.
Sweet.
So, let's try a new directory. CoLab.
New detectory undefined.
Yeah, I'm so glad I got that error message in there. Because otherwise you just go, huh?
Yeah, it'd be easy to miss.
Okay. Add user. Aviation. Hacker. All right, it looks good. Does it look good?
Yes, I think so. Oh, what happened to
Type a peak colon star standard out. Damn it.
Yeah. No.
Something is wrong.
Because what should I have, a read ability or no, it is a read ability, right? Not a write.
You should have an update capability.
Oh, okay.
Now let's see what went wrong here. Let me do a share aviation hacker factory and CoLab. So you need the asterisk standard out whenever you're getting something back. When you're sending something, we don't require.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's sent. So try a peak standard out, and I'll dump everything. Peak star. I mean, yeah, peak star standard out.
That looks better. A read and a ground.
So
And a
now
write.
you have a grant permission. Okay, and what that means is that you can give somebody a key so that they can modify their own entry or a certain key in the directory, but they can't write to the rest of it. You can just write to the one key. And that's what you were supposed to have received before. But now I just shared all my capabilities with you.
Oh, okay.
So you have all capabilities now. But when I added you to the directory, you should have gotten another one. And I guess we should show add user. Okay, and we see I cheated here. I knew that it would find it case insensitive as capital U. So it takes a username and a directory, and it so read the right. It reads my read and write permissions. It doesn't read the grant permission. Something is wrong here.
Yeah.
Okay. E add user.row. Oops. I'm gonna write this. Probably broke something. Huh? Just restart it to make sure if I broke something, we discover it quickly. The add user.row. Okay. Now here you can see I got the grant permission here. And what I do what I do here is I read my grant permission and then the others that are there. And I create a grant for the key in the directory, which is in this case the username. Return 1. So now the user can modify their own entry using that grant that I give them, which I read in return, which is the change key, which lets them change their own key, change the wanted key. In other words, it puts into the directory you and your mailbox. Well, suppose you get a new mailbox. You should be able to update it.
Yeah.
The directory, but you shouldn't be able to change my mailbox, right?
Okay, yeah. But then how would you update the directory? Would you just create a new... Yeah, how would you update the directory?
Oh, well, in directory.row, okay, the grant contract creates a new write key, and write key which takes a value, but not a key. Okay, so it returns to you. It returns a write key.
Yeah.
Okay, that takes a value and returns a result. Period. Doesn't take a key. But then it does a write to the key and the value using the write privilege from the write capability, which is in scope here. The write capability is in scope, so it does this. And the key it gets from the grant. So the grant is created only, a different grant is created for every particular key, for every particular user in this case, so they can update their mailbox in the CoLab directory. Right now, that's all we keep is the mailbox. That's it.
Yeah.
And, we'll probably, we'll definitely be keeping a lot more. But we'll call it a different directory. Okay. You got that?
Got that, yeah.
Hey, what happened? E-bang I typed instead of E-pound. E-pound goes back to the last file. Okay, so so here it it gets the inbox of the user and the change key, and then it does a write to the directory, the username, the inbox, and it does a write to the user's inbox, directory, the name of the directory, and capabilities to read and change key. So the only thing you can send to a change key is a new value and get a return. And you know, it might be good to show you an example of using that capability. But it's pretty straightforward. So what the problem was this the code, the current definition of the code is out of date. This is the new version of the code. Okay, so I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to take it back to scale up, get some sort of highlighting. Not terribly useful, but that's what we're using for now until we can add row line. That's the style. Okay, and we're going to define colon dollar add user dollar username comma dollar directory. Okay, let me just verify it's the same name we're using here. Username and directory. Yeah, when I tested this, I tested and it ran, but I didn't redefine the macro. So the older what? Just copy again. Every time I highlight something, it occupies my copy buffer. One more time. Want to get that last bracket, no more. Okay, why don't you do an add user of Jim to the directory, since you're an admin of the directory now. I gave you all my capabilities.
So just literally add user colon, or
yeah, if we do a read directory colon CoLab std out. You'll see that only has one member, aviation hacker.
all right.
So add me, yeah. Same way I added you.
Yeah.
Hi, Owen.
How did you add me? Let's see.
Right here. Add user, aviation hacker. Okay, I mean, if you look at the routine, it takes two arguments, username and the directory.
Does CoLab need? Yeah, it does.
Darn it, it didn't say sent.
Yeah, that didn't look very successful.
Why doesn't it say sent? Well, maybe I didn't get all the bugs out of this, huh? So we know I had a read, a write, and a grant permission. Um, if we do a eval, new, look up in val, and then, whoa, Control Z. We want to look up. Next thing it does here. Okay, we know it got this far. It read my permissions. We think, because we saw them in the box. So we want to see if it got this done. Um, and does that look good? I'll look up in the registry. A dollar lookup is the shorthand for that.
Yep, I think that should be all right. Oh, inbox is undefined.
Inbox undefined.
Hi, Jim.
Hiya. How you doing?
Hello, Jim. Please, why is there a space after the parentheses before the lookup?
That was just because I copied the line from here. I got extra spaces.
Okay, okay.
They don't do anything. Inbox undefined. Well, let's see. Let me do a find. inbox underscore. Now it says we got all those inboxes, but I know they're all bad. But why we would get inbox undefined, I don't know. I think what happened is I broke something when I took out the C formatter. But I don't, I don't know. I can't imagine we would have gotten this far. No, we wouldn't have.
Mm.
It could be. That's not really going to give me any output. Oh, yeah, well, never mind. Though I needed to do a print, but I'm not sure. Guess not. Okay, so why does it say inbox is undefined? What's wrong with this inbox? So the double percent means concatenate a name. And what we want to concatenate here is my username. And this is what was giving us an error. And I'm surprised I get output without doing a print. It's working fine. Inbox of undefined. At 174, it says. Oh. This was, I didn't put my username, I put username. I don't know why I didn't say. So it replaced it with nothing. Okay. So inbox underscore was undefined because this was nothing. Apparently. I don't know why it turned to nothing. Okay. I know why it turned to nothing. Because I didn't match it. Okay, well, that's something to fix. One more thing to fix. Lots of little. So the reason we have username here was because we're given the username here. We're looking up the mailbox of the person. So it's looking up my you put in Jim Scarver, right? Jim Scarver, so for my username. Okay, it gets back the URI of my mailbox. Okay, so it has the URI of my mailbox. And assigns that to change key. This looks like a bug here. It looks like I didn't test this. But you can see the way that it was. It didn't return as inbox. And then it writes to inbox. Down here, where do I get inbox? Oh, right here. Inbox equals return. And it doesn't send this. So is there a problem with the grant not returning something? It always sends to the right key. Oh. I don't know how we can possibly find out why, find out what's failing. We could add some more prints in here. We don't really know if it made it this far. If it made it this far, we would expect it would make it this far. And if we made it this far, it would do this, and it would say adding. And I don't think it said adding, did it? No, never said adding. All right. This gets down to some pretty interesting stuff. Now, let's see. We have dummy user here. I doubt that user is fully functional. So we're going to have to enable dummy user. On E, make my locker. And we're going to dot row exec this. And we're going to be starting over with the locker nonce of 1. What happened?
Evaluating from X.
Trying to recover the continued parse for symbol EOF. Now, I don't know how this is possible since we didn't get any error running. We didn't get any error running this over here. Wait, oh, this is add user. Make my locker. Whoops. You just ran this and it worked fine, huh?
So make my locker, yeah. I ran that at the start, near the start.
So I'm tempted to just take this and copy it back in here. But why, why would it say end of file? One, oh, it got an end of file on the first line.
Is there like a comma there or something? Sorry, I am semicolon. Not a comma, but yeah.
I mean, oh, I didn't give it the file name. %sign is the current file. So I gave it no file name, which is why I got an error at end of file on the first character. Okay. So it made this inbox and I made this dummy user. the DWuser.h, and the locker capital C is change the rest of the line. And then we have the inbox. Let's see. So, and I thought, this had to be the last line. Locker nonsense 1. Okay, so we made a dummy user, and we'll make a test directory. And we know the nonce is 1, so we always say that. We'll update the file. Okay, tester created, and it sent the capabilities.
Sweet.
Add user. Gonna add Jim Scarver to test. There. Add announces 2. Okay, added the user. And now I do a peek. I'll peek at everything. Enter it out. Okay, it worked. I don't understand why it didn't work before. I mean, here, see, I got a change key capability.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get a read capability. Isn't that bizarre?
Isn't it the one above though? Directory, CoLab, grant, read, and write.
Yeah, that's a different directory. I'm looking at tester.
Oh, right.
damn it, bugs. I hate bugs. Okay, so we didn't get, I mean, how that could happen is beyond really. Okay, when we look at this, oh, we can see what we send here. We find my inbox. We read the inbox. Okay, we write. We succeeded in writing. We write to the directory, in this case, tester is the name of the directory we're creating here. Directory tester, we send it the map. Read with the read permission and change key with the change key permission. How it could possibly come up with only a change key and not a read permission capability is totally bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do we diagnose that? I mean, could it be something in the inbox?
Oh.
So this was updated, made a little complicated. We matched the message on a type, subtype, and a map. And a map would be AB, followed by something else, anything else. So A and B are bound, but they're not used. Then we match items here. We match the type, the subtype, and the old map. So we find an item. We find an item in your mailbox that already has these properties. And no, we don't find that right now. We don't find that yet. If we run that again, we will find that. Okay, so I can add myself to the directory again and see if we get that. Otherwise, we put into the box the items that were in the box, plus this new message, which is a list, a type, a subtype, and a map. So after we do this the first time, we're going to have the first pattern, or we're going to have the otherwise pattern here. So if I add user again, oops, what did I edit? Oh, ooh. What? Must have said W. Jeez.
I probably need to shoot off, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, I will finish this up. Now, where are we with the nods? Okay, guy, have a good one.
Sweet, you too. We'll see you next week.
Will do. Dummy user is 3. Nods is 3. I mean, yeah. Three? Oops. 3. Okay. And now we have adding Jim Scriver. Says added. So what does that mean? Let's do a peek of a directory. Tester to standard out. Whoops. Forgot a comma. That's your comma. And I still only have change key in their directory. Help. That's all for today, folks.